Hi everyone, my name is Rebekah Furey and I am the collections coordinator at Prairie. My job is to take care of all of the amazing objects that we have at the museum. My favorite part of the collection is definitely the books. We have around 1,000 books that all date back to the 19th century, some even earlier. Because a lot of people enjoy books and enjoy collecting books, I want to give you 5 tips on how to take care of your own books at home in the same way that I take care of the books at the museum. Tip number 1 is to avoid light as much as possible. You don't want to keep your books stored near windows or anywhere where they can be hit by sunlight. This increases discoloration and speeds up the deterioration of the book over time. Tip number 2 is to be careful when you're pulling books off of a shelf. You want to either grab the top of the pages and tilt outward, and that gives you a nice handhold of where you can grab the book. The second option is to push in the books on either side, and then that exposes the book spine to where you can properly grab it and slide it off the shelf. Tip number 3 is to keep similar sized books together. You want to make sure that you don't have a really small book on a shelf next to a really large, heavy hardback book. By keeping the similar sizes together, they support each other, and that will extend the lifetime of the book. It also helps to keep the books upright so that undue pressure isn't being put on the spine of the book. Tip number 4 is to keep your bookshelves full but not too tight. If they're too tight, every time you pull a book off of the shelf, you're going to be putting a lot of pressure on it, and that will affect it over time. Tip number 5 deals with keeping pests away from your books, so creatures that will eat the pages of your book or the adhesive that's found in the spine. Additionally, it's important to keep mold away from your books. And the best way to do both of those things is to, number 1, keep your books dry so that mold isn't going to accumulate. And it's also important to dust occasionally so that pests aren't attracted to the dust particles. I have around 300, maybe 400 books in my collection, and I practice all of these steps in order to keep my books around for as long as possible. And you can do the same thing with yours at home.